so we can get a good one in.
It was intense, to say the very least. Not suitable for children, but certainly from the standpoint of hyping up a big fight with aggression, dislike, and something similar to a blood feud, yes.
UFC 328 hasn't even hit fight night yet, and New Jersey is already bleeding drama. Thursday's press conference was supposed to be the usual pre-fight theater. 2 fighters, a table, some cameras, and a whole lot of trash talk. What became was something else entirely. Khamzat Chimaev and Sean Strickland nearly dismantled the entire event before a single punch was thrown inside the octagon. Security, chaos, a flying kick, and enough raw animosity to fill 3 fight cards. This wasn't staged. This wasn't a publicity stunt cooked up by the marketing team. This was 2 genuinely dangerous men who absolutely cannot stand each other, sharing the same stage, and barely surviving the experience with their dignity intact. Well, one of them barely survived with his dignity intact. Let's rewind to how Thursday actually went down. Strickland arrived at that press conference the way he always arrives. Loud, unfiltered, and completely unbothered by the consequences of whatever comes out of his mouth next. The man is constitutionally incapable of pretending to respect someone he doesn't respect. And Khamzat Chimaev? Sean Strickland does not respect Khamzat Chimaev, not even slightly. From the moment things kicked off, Strickland was already in a different gear. He wasn't just talking trash. He was filing a formal complaint with anyone who would listen. The heavy security presence around Chimaev rubbed him the wrong way immediately. And Strickland being Strickland, he said exactly what was on his mind. He called Chimaev out for needing a small army of handlers just to get through 5 days in America without incident. He questioned his character. He questioned his professionalism. And then he called him something that, well, if you watched the press conference, you already know what he said. And if you didn't, your imagination is probably close enough. The crowd loved every second of it. Here's the thing about Sean Strickland that casual fans sometimes miss. He's not performing. When other fighters do this kind of media week theater, you can feel the calculation behind it. The brand awareness, the pay-per-view buys, the social media clips. With Strickland, the hostility is completely authentic. He genuinely doesn't like Chimaev. He genuinely thinks Chimaev is a problem. And he will tell you so in considerable detail, with no filter whatsoever, for as long as you're willing to stand there and listen. That's what makes him must-watch television. Chimaev, for his part, came in with a completely different energy. Calm, almost dismissive. He kept returning to the same theme: money. Making money. Winning fights. Going home happy. He wasn't interested in the psychological warfare, or at least that's the image he was projecting. I just care about making millions, smashing somebody, being happy, and going home. Simple, direct, financially motivated. Earlier in the day, Chimaev had actually suggested the face-off wouldn't even happen. He said something along the lines of it not being possible for anything to go wrong because they wouldn't let him get near Strickland. He seemed almost relaxed about it, almost resigned to the idea that the whole thing would be tightly controlled, professionally managed, perfectly boring. Dana White had other plans. When someone asked whether the 2 fighters could actually face off, like physically stand next to each other and look each other in the eyes, White didn't hesitate. Absolutely, he said. And just like that, the entire room shifted. You could feel it. That particular energy that only exists in rooms where something is genuinely about to go sideways. As Chimaev and Strickland moved toward each other at center stage, White did what any responsible promoter would do in that situation. He asked them, begged them, almost to be good. Just be good. 2 words. That's all he wanted. Chimaev looked Strickland dead in the eyes. I'm not going to touch you, he said. And then, approximately 3 seconds later, Chimaev launched a kick. What followed was exactly what you'd expect when you put 2 elite fighters in a room full of adrenaline, genuine hatred, and absolutely zero patience for each other. Complete and total chaos. Bodies moving, security scrambling, voices everywhere. The kind of scene that makes every fight fan's brain short-circuit between "this is incredible" and "someone is about to actually get hurt." It took a small army to pull things apart. Strickland hit social media almost immediately after. He wasn't rattled. He was vindicated. He said the kick was exactly what he expected from Coward. He'd called it. He'd said Chimaev would do something exactly like this. And Chimaev had proven him right in real time, in front of cameras, with the entire combat sports world watching. You could almost feel the satisfaction radiating off the post. But Strickland wasn't done. He also went on record about what fans can actually expect inside the octagon. And this is where it gets interesting from a pure fight analysis standpoint. He warned people about Chimaev's wrestling heavy style. He talked about the kind of fight Chimaev tends to impose on opponents. The grinding, the controlling, the smothering grappling game that wins rounds without necessarily winning hearts. He questioned whether that style is what the fans actually pay to see. He called Chimaev unlikable. He said nobody wants to watch that. Now, whether you agree with that characterization or not, Strickland is touching on something real. Chimaev is an elite competitor. His record is almost spotless. His physical tools are genuinely frightening. But there's a version of this fight where Chimaev takes it to the mat early and controls the pace completely, and that version of the fight is not the version anyone is buying pay-per-view for. Strickland knows that, and by putting it out there publicly, he's also putting a little pressure on Chimaev to come forward, to engage, to make it a war, smart, loud, calculated in a way that feels completely uncalculated. That's Strickland in a nutshell. Chimaev's response to all of it? Measured, almost gracious in a backhanded way. He said he hopes Strickland stays healthy heading into fight night. No injuries. No excuses. He wants Strickland at 100% so that when he beats him, there's no asterisk next to the result. No shoulder. No knee. No. Well, he wasn't really himself. Chimaev wants the cleanest possible version of this win on his record. That's either supreme confidence or a really good impression of it that here's where things stand right now. You have a press conference that nearly turned into an unlicensed bout in a New Jersey event hall. You have a champion who promised not to throw a kick and then immediately threw a kick. You have a challenger who has been right about his opponent's behavior at every single turn and is absolutely loving the attention. You have a promoter who clearly knew exactly what he was doing when he said absolutely and waved those two men toward each other. And you have a fight that, on paper, was already one of the most compelling matchups of the year, and now carries about 30 extra layers of personal animosity that no amount of security and no number of handlers is going to cool down before that cage door closes. UFC 328. New Jersey. Two fighters who genuinely cannot stand each other, about to be locked in a small metal structure with nowhere to run. Whatever happens inside that octagon, it's going to be anything but boring.